But we're going to move on, Mark, to our next story. And this conversation, we're going to look at the NFL, but I feel like at the end, maybe it's because I'm not just a football guy. Like, football's my main sport, but I like other ones too.
Football's the best sport, yeah.
I'm focusing a little bit on basketball at the time, and they're having similar officiating issues right now. So we're going to take this, microscope it on football, and then at the end of this conversation, we're going to kind of put it out globally to just a sports in general kind of a discussion. But basically, if you have not seen, the Ravens have a plan. And their plan is basically, it's very simple. Everything except pass interference and holding are reviewable.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that's not a judgment call, like pass interference and holding, for example, boom, it should be reviewable. By the upstairs, by the challenge flag, should be reviewable.
Yeah, they're basically saying that, it seems like every year we're adding something else that's reviewable. So instead of waiting 10 years for all this stuff to be reviewable, let's just do it now.
Yeah.
We'll just get to it. Now, I do want to say that, of course, why someone might be thinking, why are the Ravens the one doing this? But let's not forget, last season, the referees, they completely missed a false start by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And because they missed that, the Jacksonville Jaguars got to kick a game-winning field goal. And then, of course, the Ravens lose. Nothing inspires a team quite like getting fucked over by the refs. Mm-hmm. Nothing will inspire a team quite like that. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting. But honestly, this is the one thing I have issue with when it comes to all these reviews. Football games are long enough, and they have enough breaks in them. I really don't want to start having more and more plays get reviewed.
Here's the thing. I knew you were going to say that, which, first off, my point is the NFL should be fucking just drooling from the mouth by hearing more breaks. Because, there's more ads that you can fit into shit. But here's the thing, because
they're not dumb. They know people will tune out.
The fans like us don't want to see commercials. There's a reason I watch Red Zone. Because when they go to review, Red Zone switches to another game, and then when that review's over, I can go back to that game. Mm-hmm. That's basically why I watch Red Zone, so I don't have to deal with commercials. But they could do this in a smart way to where the way I see it, the referee on the field shouldn't have to make the call. The thing I never understood was, why does he have to be the one to step in under the hood and make the call? They should have a guy in their replay center that it's like, okay, your job is this fucking game. And while everything is going on, you're kind of a little bit on delay watching things. And then as soon as you see something, all you gotta do is hit a button, it buzzes the main ref. Okay, what's going on? And it's not an under the hood thing like, let me make a decision, let me see. It's more of, hey, you see this? Yeah. Okay, that's the call. Okay, boom, take the headset off, you're done.
Mm-hmm. But the one thing I think, of course, the one thing I want to point out in that one is, you definitely are going to have, that guy's not, if he's on a delay or something like that, that guy's not going to have enough time to make those calls before the next play is called.
There's a way, that was just me kind of just speaking off the top of my head.
Because in order for that to happen, there has to be stops constantly.
There's a way we can, I feel like there's a way that we can make this work.
You know what happens in that case, though? If there's a guy, if I'm a coach, and I know there's a guy up in the sky, and he's watching all these plays carefully, we're going to no-huddle it. I'm not letting him do shit.
That's a good point.
Because the referee there, I'm going to assume, he's going to make some mistakes. We're going no-huddle. That guy's not stopping a single play.
And I mean, with officiating, the one thing you got to think of is there's obviously a human element.
Yeah.
There's baseball's been the sport.
Baseball's the best at it.
They've been we're going to let the umps be the ump. But, this is not a football discussion, but I'm going to throw it in there anyways because it fits the officiating discussion. It's like Mike Rankin was, I think it was either on one of our live streams or talking to me before one of the Behind the Pens. He can't stand the K zone in baseball because the one thing he says is baseball's been like, oh, well, we want to embrace the human element. but then you show me wrong calls on almost every pitch. You show me blatantly wrong calls. If you want to embrace the human element, don't show me the K zone, because you're basically sometimes showing me when the ref is wrong. And to bring this back to football, the reason why me and you are having this discussion isn't because John Harbaugh. It isn't because Ozzie Newsome got screwed out of a game. The reason why we are having this discussion right now is because of the world that we live in. We live in the social media world, the generation of social media. I could take a poop and tell you about it when it's happening. Would I? Probably not, because you don't need to know
a lady
when and where I take
recently on
poops.
Facebook Live having a baby.
Yes, I heard about that on the radio.
Yep.
Where
Everything's out.
I guess now some hospitals won't even let you, this is off topic, but some hospitals won't even let you bring a regular camera into the delivery room anymore.
Fine by me.
Because of malpractice suits.
Oh, yeah.
That they're worried about getting sued.
I don't want to watch that.
I don't either. I'm
not even 100% positive I want to be in the room the first time.
If I'm having a kid, I don't need that for proof. I've got the proof running around.
It's there. You can see it on the credit card bill every month.
Now you sound like my father.
Right?
But back to the officiating. We live in the Twitter world where if a ref makes a bad call, somebody's got it. Somebody's found a way to put it on video, to put it on Twitter, and boom, it's out there for everybody and their grandmothers to see.
Not even to mention the fact that it's one thing if, let's just use, Mark Schlereth, for example. It's one thing if he's sitting there judging the call and he's analyzing it.
No, but this is just
on ESPN.
The call, just on loop. The play on loop.
Exactly. But you have this now where every single person can go and take this image or take this still and draw all over it, and they can enhance it. They can do whatever they want, and they can make their judgments, their opinions, which could be right, could be wrong. Well, not that Mark Schlereth can't be right or wrong
I'm not even saying that, not enhancing anything. Just having the clip, because how it used to be in the day was the call happened,
and you got over it.
Well, and if you saw it, it was like, wow, that was a bad call. But nobody talked about it beyond that unless you were really pissed about it, because we never had that, constant proof. It's put on Twitter, and then a million people, the people in the millions, retweeting it, and it keeps, getting a bigger reach.
And then it shows up on Facebook trending that it's trending on Twitter.
Or Twitter trending.
That's what they start to cross into each other.
Yeah, everything is instant now, and that's what it's the world we live in today, where refs are going to be, they're put under the microscope because we expect them to be perfect. Will they ever be perfect? No, but it's one of those things where you got to be right most of the time.
And that's honestly, though, I don't think that the Ravens are going about it correctly by saying, let's just review everything except for a few things. I think really what the NFL needs is to have a comprehensive, ref camp or something, and really just address and fix the issue. These refs obviously are out of sync. Let's get it back. Let's get it fixed. Let's get everything taken care of, because it's not. This is what an issue is. Something I would love, and this isn't an original idea, but I don't remember where it came from. I don't remember whose article this was. Is why don't we just say, okay, CFL or Arena Football League, whatever, cut it out. Minor Football League. Let's get a real minor league football. Doesn't even have to be 32 teams.
Kind of like the AHL for hockey.
Yeah. If anything, you can even have professional teams share a team or something like that. Obviously there's complexities to that, but let's not worry about that right now. Why don't we get something to where it's real rules? They can play while we had the real NFL in an off season. And it doesn't even have to really be televised or anything.
Them in the minor league?
Yeah, let these refs go and keep that practice and keep things up, or even have minor league refs essentially, where hey, ref A is really messing up some calls. You get back down to that minor league. This guy who's been rocking it, all right, you're up. just something.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be something done differently because the same thing that the NFL is doing of just kind of, let's review more plays. This isn't fixing the actual issue. It's just treating the symptoms of refs are making mistakes.
Well, and I feel like for the Super Bowl, doesn't the NFL have a rule where in order to officiate a Super Bowl, your kind of refereeing record...
It's supposed to be like an all-star group.
Yeah, it has to be like really fucking good.
But the issue with that, too, is you put all these guys that have never been reffed, who never reffed together, you throw them together, and people underestimate this. They don't realize that for these officials, they are working with the same group every week.
And that's what I love
builds
about
chemistry.
And that's what I love about college football. And of course, theirs is a little bit easier because, like, for example, Oklahoma and Clemson played each other in the one of the semifinal games. Okay, we'll have a Big Ten group. The Big Ten crew, like the best Big Ten crew from their conference, you get that game because you're getting the best crew from that conference. Plus, it's an outside conference. You don't have to worry about them, like a Big 12 siding with the Big 12, ACC with the ACC. Oh, we've got Alabama and whatever, the Pac-12 guys. These are the best crew out of the ones that are not in this game. You guys get it. That's what I feel like. I feel like that needs to be taken into, like what you said, the crew. Like, oh, well, this guy's fucking up our crew rating. Let's get him out of here and get somebody else in here.
Yeah.
Because it is all about teamwork and being on the same page. And the more you work with somebody, you kind of get a feel for them and like what they're going to see and what you have to focus on. And I know each ref has their own job, but kind of that little feel for somebody, kind of like how a real team works. I feel like, too, hockey does it pretty well, too, with the replays and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
They're ones where it's...
But they don't stop it all the time.
They don't stop it all the time, but in the playoffs, they'll stop it more so than they will in the regular season. I just feel like for football, we've had too many moments where it's like, oh, that was a bullshit call, and it ended a game. The way I see it is I know referees have this. You hear it all the time on ESPN. He didn't make it. Could be basketball, could be football. He didn't make the call because he did not want to influence the end of the game. The big one I'm going to throw out there that didn't happen in football happened in basketball this week. Game 1 of the Thunder Warrior game. Russell Westbrook, as he's calling a timeout, slides. Technically a travel. Ref doesn't call it. Everyone's saying, well, he didn't make that call because he didn't want to put a fingerprint on the end of the game. The way I see it, and it's kind of playing devil's advocate, because the way I want to say, well, fuck it. You know what? If it's the fucking call, you make the fucking call. That's what it is. If it fits the rule book, you make the call. However, you go back to Jordan, his last shot. Should have been a foul on Russell. Reggie Miller, and I know I'm using basketball references now, but that's what I saw on SportsCenter because they were talking about basketball games. Reggie Miller, when he had the whatever points in whatever seconds, a little bit of a push on Greg Anthony. They didn't make the call. They didn't want to put that fingerprint on the end of the game, and you can even put it in football too. Oh, we didn't call. Look at the Des Bryant, the catch. Well, I'm calling it a catch because it should have been a catch. The Calvin Johnson call. Those are things where...
Although Calvin Johnson's the opposite of what you're saying.
I was just going to say, he is the opposite of that's when they did...
But everybody,
that was a different
the
rule.
Oakland Raiders fans out there will love this one, the tuck rule.
The tuck rule.
The tuck rule is a clear example of a referee not wanting to interfere. But there's this awesome study. I forget which... I own a book and it's got this study in it. But it references the tuck rule. But then it talks about baseball and how... when like when the score is tied or like when the bases are loaded, when it's a full count, the umpire is going to be less likely to call a strike in certain situations because they don't want to leave it up. Or no, it's that they're less likely to call a ball because they don't want to walk the guy because then it's the umpire doing it. But if it's a strike and the guy strikes out, then it was the pitcher and the batter doing it. So they're more likely to put, it's not even a conscious thing. They're just more likely to do that because they don't want to be the reason for anything.
Well, and there's also a thing on that where I feel like with umpires in baseball, if you have a pitcher that's kind of painting the corners, but they're technically balls, and you're not swinging at them because you think they're balls, some of the umps are going to be like, well, fuck it. We got to have these guys swing the bat. May call a few of those strikes. So you start swinging at them. Or if it's like, how many times have we seen bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes, it's really close, and they call a ball. Because the guy didn't swing. They don't want to punch him out on a looking. They rather have him swing and like, oh, he just missed it. So it's a strike. Yeah. How many times have we seen, oh, well, that could have technically been pass interference. Look at the last play of the Ravens-Niners Super Bowl, where I could still see it today in my basement. Dave screaming at the television set that there should have been penalties on Ray Lewis's defense.
Yeah, definitely.
That's another spot. Don't want to put my fingerprints all over the game. I mean, the 2007 Super Bowl, you didn't have to deal with that because the Bears were kind of out of it, right, Mark? They were out of it from that kick.
When was that?
Return.
I don't remember.
But back to that Niners-Ravens Super Bowl. I'm kind of jabbing you there, but that was another one where the ref, I don't want to put my fingerprints on that game.
Yeah. There's also should have been a guy going over the line early, but
what about
exact same situation?
There were some people that thought Malcolm Butler made a little bit of contact with the Seahawk receiver when he made his interception, and of course there's some of these calls where it's like, oh, that's just fans being fans.
Yeah,
because the one thing I will say, there are, and I get that way too. As fans, we get emotional. We are really emotional right off the bat. I am a huge, like Donald Trump when he says huge, kind of an emotional fan guy, where if there's a bad call, fuck the ref, blah, 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 this and that was a bad call. But then time takes over, and I kind of cool off. I'm like, okay, can see why he called it. Let's move on, kind of a thing. But I don't think, sadly, I don't think there's any change in sight anytime soon
for the NFL.
In officiating, and I even say that across the board. I say that across the board, but mostly in the NFL.
I think that the NFL is far away from fixing this problem, and I think that just adding more reviews and more reviewable plays is
going to make the game slower.
It's going to make the game slower. Maybe they can sell some ads at first, but if anything, it reduces people's desire to watch it live, to watch it on TV, as opposed to the millions of sites you can illegally stream it. And I think it's just going to cause more problems. Because what is the issue? Refs are making mistakes. So reviewing more things is just treating the symptom. You need to get to the core of the issue and fix the refs. That's what it is. I'm not trying to blame everything on the refs, because I know it's a very, very difficult job that
it's a stressful job.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't want to do it. But that's what the issue is. The issue is they're the ones making the mistakes. And that's what needs to be fixed.
If you're a ref, you're expected to be perfect, and nobody's perfect.
Nope.